So neither a borrower nor a lender be. So said Polonius in Hamlet. Sage advice, one might think now, given that the economy appears to be heading towards a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions, perhaps. Pity the poor members of the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee who've grappled with today's decision to push interest rates up by the base rate another 0.5%, 8-1 they voted that, we're being told. But not as poor, of course, as those mortgage holders who haven't got a fixed-rate deal or about to see the current one expire. Inflation, the curse, the crude hammer of monetary policy or interest rates, seemingly the only weapon available to the bank to wallop that on the head. But such a hammer blow brings other consequences as well as a financial headache. So why has the bank decided to inflict such pain now? Well, inflation higher than any other G7 country, higher than France, Italy or Germany. So the old lady of Threadneedle Street already warning of inflation peaking at 11% in October. It's now upped that estimate to 13.3% for October. And a respected think tank, the Resolution Foundation, saying it could be as high as 15% by next year, with price pressure stronger and longer lasting than the bank had originally predicted. Now, if the bank continues to squeeze the economy with ever higher rates to choke off inflation, it could make your mortgage very expensive indeed. Even if you have a modest £270,000 property, average price across Britain, with a 25% deposit, it will cost you £200 a month more than last November. And remember, that's all out of taxed income. On Monday, the bank scrapped its affordability or stress tests, calculating if borrowers could cope with a 3% rise, an indicator where they think things are headed, perhaps. The Nationwide, though, saying if you earn more than £100,000, you can still now borrow 5.5 times your salary. Indeed, if you have a 25% deposit, you could borrow £5 million. That'll do nicely. But the new base rate, not so nice for whoever will be our new Prime Minister. Interest payments on government debt in June, remember, £19.4 billion, double the amount of June 2021. Sir Patrick Minford, seemingly Liz Truss's favourite economist, saying higher interest rates, 5 to 7%, could be a good thing. A healthy economy, he says, should have a decent rate. But Rishi Sunak has quoted those figures to attack Liz Truss and argue strongly against plans to borrow to grow the economy. Both candidates now facing the prospect of that year-long recession as a new Prime Minister. And, of course, it could also make life more expensive for many businesses, including, remember, the water utilities, about to turn off hose pipes for many customers. They may also have to turn off their financial taps because the regulator, Ofwat, warning many have loaded up on debt while paying large dividends to shareholders, that debt topping £56 billion last year. That's some mortgage. So, will rates keep on rising until we all drown in debt as we try to keep finances afloat? Well, on the bright side, if you're a saver, it's good news, of course, although many high street banks have been a bit tardy raising their rates. A few glimmers of hope, perhaps on inflation. Petrol down £5 a tank, the RAC says, although it should be falling to 1.67 a litre, they say. And the cost of some raw materials, copper, aluminium, nickel, also dropping from their recent highs. But, of course, we can't afford to spend as much either, and that chokes off demand all by itself. Footfall in shops, we're being told, way down. But food, but in particular gas, because of Russia, keeps on going up. So, to raise or not to raise, that is the question, whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune or to take arms against a sea of troubles.